Hey guys, welcome to the Erudite Podcast. I wanted to talk to you today about a trip that I recently took to Orange Beach, Alabama. Orange Beach, Alabama. We stayed at the Hampton Inn and Resort right on the beach. This is a shot of the hotel. This is the street view shot of the hotel, and here's an aerial shot. As you can see, it's right on the beach, has a pool. And we're just kind of going to look at the room here. I can give you some feedback on the room. This was considered a suite. So this is the largest room that Hampton Inn has to offer. This is on the 8th floor. Very nice view. I will tell you, I was very disappointed with the quality of the rooms. So unfortunately, I don't have a very good review on the hotel. It's not a place that I would recommend or I would go back to. Now, having said that, I've stayed with the Hilton group a number of times. As you guys may have known that listen to any of my other videos, we really love the Embassy Suites. And I've stayed at Hampton Inn. It just hadn't been in a while. But unfortunately, there was no Embassy Suites here in Orange Beach. And this was our option. For our family size, this worked well because there were 2 beds. And then there was a roll-out couch. We did not use this couch because it was absolutely filthy. I never felt completely comfortable in the room because I didn't feel like it was completely clean. The people that work at the hotel, the folks that clean your room, they were awesome. They were very, very nice people. Unfortunately, the folks at the front desk were not as accommodating. When we initially got there, we had an issue with the room. They had to switch our room, and it just was not ease of access or ease of service. So Hampton Inn, it was decent, but I would not stay there again. Here's our view from the 8th floor. This is sort of in the middle of the hotel. Be cognizant of that. If you do decide to stay here, you can get side views as opposed to front views to the beach there. And this is the balcony. The chairs are just little plastic chairs. They're not very durable at all. I never really sat out there. As you can see, we have a towel over the seats because, again, I never felt like the area was completely clean. And here's the outside pool, which was great. We didn't really use it because we were always on the beach, but if you have little ones that want to swim in the pool, that would be great to do. The tide was pretty aggressive here in Orange Beach. This is our first time going. We'd been to Destin, and my expectations were a little higher. I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a minute. But here's the restroom. The bathroom area, we had plenty of towels and things like that. And of course, no one actually took a bath. We just showered each day, and everything was good here. No problem. But again, because the carpet and the couch were in such disarray, I should say, I never really felt like the area was completely clean in totality. But let's take a look at some of the amenities that the hotel has to offer. Here's the fitness room. It was a decent size fitness room. You've got your treadmills and things like that. I don't recall seeing any free weights or anything like that. So, your Stairmasters, your treadmills, and these sorts of things. So if you do want to get up one morning and go exercise, you can do that. Well, there are a few free weights there, but, no bench pressing or anything like that. Overall, this was a pretty good value add. Normally the windows are not as clogged. This is early in the morning. Then you can kind of see out to the beach area there. So it's a good view while you're exercising. The hotel overall, again, we stayed on the 8th floor. They did have a few amenities. Here's some wash and dry, for example, if you bathing suits and things like that you may not want to keep wet or in certain places. One of the things I did like about the hotel was the access to the beach. It did offer free breakfast, but if you're used to staying at Embassy Suites, this is not the same type of breakfast. It's more than a continental, but it's not an Embassy Suites breakfast. And my family and I, we do not eat meat. So for vegans and vegetarians, It's a little bit of a challenge because usually people kind of load up on eggs and bacon and sausages and things like that, and that's really not something that we eat. So we had to make do with, some other items like the waffles and toast and different grains that they may have had available there. But it was decent. It was nothing to write home about. This area here, the lobby, was relatively nice. It didn't really get too crowded in the mornings. People came down, got their food, and then they went back. And it was decent. Walking out to the parking deck, there was a 3-story parking deck. So if you do decide to come and stay here, the entry is on the bottom. It was a little confusing when we first came, but the entry is on the bottom. So when you come into the parking deck, make sure you come all the way up. Otherwise, you won't see the doors, and you'll do like I did, which is circle all the way to the top looking for the place to enter. So it did have an ATM. It did have a spa. Of course, I talked to you already about the pool. Had a business center. So there are a lot of value adds that this particular hotel had. It's just a shame that I didn't feel better about the cleanliness of the rooms. Some days it would rain, and so the pool would offer a good option for folks who still wanted to be in the water but not out in the rain. This particular weekend, as we came in, a conference was closing out. So there's a conference room, in case anybody's interested. Those double doors ahead, it's a relatively large conference area there where you can host a conference. And here's the business center. So if you do need to, jump on the computer, print anything for whatever reason, they did have a nice business center located here. The lobby was clean, and it was relatively impressive when you first walked in to check in. You can see straight through out to the ocean. So that probably was one of the better features of the hotel, and easily accessible. After, I don't know what time it was. I think after about 6 or 8 in the evening, you had to access the doors with your room key, for a security mechanism. So just be aware of that. Once you're out in this area, you can easily access the pool simply by opening the gate. And of course, you can walk over the boardwalk to the ocean. Also, you just simply have to open the gate. Many people sit out here in the evening and just enjoy afternoon drinks or fellowship. There are a lot of lounge chairs and places for people to sit and just, hang out. Obviously, being close to the water is always calming, and you could hear the water. Many nights we would leave our door open to our balcony just to kind of fall asleep to the sounds of the ocean. So that was great. I was telling you before that we stayed in Destin some years back, and I kind of think Destin is probably one of the closer beaches to the Caribbean in terms of quality. White sand beaches, clear water, and all these sorts of things. And we thought we were going to get the same thing here in Orange Beach because, of course, it's only a few miles around the Gulf. But that wasn't the case. I'm not sure why. I am not sure why. So I'll just share what I think it is. I'll tell you what we saw. We did see white sand, which was great. It was still sugary white sand. That was excellent. But the water seemed to us to be dirty. It certainly wasn't the water that we saw in Destin. In Destin, the water is very clear, or at least it was the last time we went. And you can walk out relatively far, still kind of look toward the bottom, and still feel like you can swim in the water and you can do other things, and you don't have that foam type of action that you get if you're in Myrtle Beach or Virginia Beach. Where the water rolls up onto the shore, it leaves this foam coating on the sand, and it's like a really bad ring in your bathtub or something. That's the type of water that was here. And so, needless to say, we did not get into the ocean. We did walk the beach, several days, several nights, because that was relaxing in and of itself. But it was just unfortunate that the water was not clear. and I never felt completely comfortable, immersing myself in the water because I thought it was unclean. In terms of the beach, it was not very crowded. Some areas, people kind of congregated, but for the most part, given the length of the beach and the length of where we were, walking, it wasn't very crowded at all. So I felt really good about the beach experience outside of the water itself. So I think that'll be a portion that you'll really, really enjoy. And there was a day where we even were able to go kayaking. I'll include the name of the gentleman that we used for kayaking services, but he was very nice, and the services were offered actually through his house because he lived on the bay. Wanted to also tell you a little bit about some of the places that we ate. Some of the footage that you're seeing now is a restaurant group. I cannot recall the name of it, but there were 3 different restaurants that were included in this group, and they were all really good. The food was really good. We had a very good experience at each one of them, with one small exception. The last night, we went to one of the more popular restaurants in this particular group, and it ended up being very busy. So we ended up waiting, a little longer than we wanted to. But it probably is as much as our fault as anything, because we decided to go a little later than not than we normally do, but we should have just went a little earlier. All in all, though, the experience on the food side was good. And here you see one of the delis with different types of sandwiches and salads and sweets and muffins and coffee. It's like a coffee shop, and this was not very far from our hotel, so that was another convenience factor. We happened to luck upon these particular restaurants, and they were only, I don't know if we really traveled very far from our hotel the entire time we were there, but these restaurants were only about 1 mile to 2 miles from where we were staying. The last night, of course, that one was a little further away, probably about 3 miles. So it wasn't a long distance type of setup when it came to us finding food. So I'll list the name of the restaurants in the comments or in the description so that you will have them. And once you have one, you pretty much have access to the others because they're all owned by the same ownership. So if you're looking to go shopping and hang out and stuff like that, try the wharf. You'll pass it on the way to Orange Beach, and it's sort of like this, outside entertainment complex. There's shopping, there's food, there's a couple games and things like that. You should really, really check it out. The last thing I'll say is, in terms of grade for Orange Beach, I like the area. I think my expectations were set a little high because I've been to Destin and I heard so much about Orange Beach, and I just thought it would probably be at least as good as Destin is, and unfortunately it was not. I won't. I'll stop short of not advising you to go. I'll only say in terms of overall grade, I'll give it about a B minus. It wasn't terrible. Anytime I'm able to get to the beach and put my feet in the water is a good day. Don't get me wrong. But it was not Destin. It's not South Beach. It's not any of those places. If you're looking for clear water, this isn't your place. Certainly, if you're looking for a clean hotel, Hampton Inn is not your place either, unfortunately. And hopefully they change that, because I would really not like to have to deal with a dirty room if I went somewhere. I don't think I'll ever stay at another Hampton Inn, just FYI. And I hadn't stayed there in a long, long time, and I sort of see why. But anyway, I digress. At the end of the day, we had a great time. This was for my wife's birthday. The highlight of the weekend was our kayaking, and the weather held out for us, so that was awesome. There's a lot of stuff to do in Orange Beach if you like deep sea fishing, if you like seafood. Just, it's worth the trip. It's worth the trip just to check it out. Find somewhere else to stay besides Hampton Inn, and you should have a pretty good time. All right, guys. Appreciate you checking us out. I'll keep posting, and we'll keep traveling. Thanks.